Happy vending.
Hi, I'm Bill, and today we're going to be putting LED lights into this Royal 8049 machine. Now, 2 years ago, I put LED strip lights in this machine that I got from the internet. But the problem with those lights was that the power supply on them kept going bad. Twice the power supply went bad within 2 years. So I abandoned that whole system. Now, I originally put that LED system in because the fluorescent system in this machine had bad sockets on the bottom. They were burnt up, plus the ballast was bad. So I figured I didn't want to put all the money into fixing that I would convert it to LED. The new strategy I'm going with now is I got these Sign Hero bulbs from Keystone, and they are 360. They have LEDs on both sides. They're designed specifically for signs. High output. They have the high output connectors, which this machine does have. And they cost about $61 a piece. So they're a little pricey, but they have a 5-year warranty on it, so hopefully it'll last a good long time. I'm going to get started here. The first thing you always want to do, though, when working on the lights in a machine is unplug it, because there's a lot of high voltage in there and you don't want to get electrocuted. All right, I've unplugged the machine, and now we're going to take a look on the inside. I've already pulled the ballast on this machine because it was bad, it wasn't working. The ballast, it would originally be mounted right here with this screw, and it had one of the big old heavy ones. Took that out. When you cut out the ballast, you're going to have all these wires going up to the top sockets, which are okay on this machine, and then you're going to have these yellow wires then going down to the bottom sockets. The LED bulbs that I have are direct wire, so we don't need the ballast. So what I have to do is group all these together with a wire nut, make one of them the neutral, and then group the bottom sockets together with a wire nut and make that one the hot. And you use your hot, which is the black, and your white, which is the neutral. So you just want to make sure on one side you have hot and one side you have neutral. And then pay attention when you're putting in the bulbs, each side is marked either neutral or hot, that you're putting the hot end up on the hot sockets and the neutral end down below. Now the top sockets on this are okay, but the bottom sockets were a little charred, especially this one over here on the right was completely burned out. So the first thing I want to do is just replace these. I've already taken out the left one. I'm going to take out this one. All you have to do is take off this one screw. Put it somewhere where you're not going to lose it. I'm going to take this out. And as I work on this, I'm going to put the screw right here so I do not lose that screw and I know where it belongs. Now, if you take a look at this socket, you can see completely burned out, completely melted on this other side. Now, I don't know what happened to this machine. I had purchased it this way. It was burnt out, which was part of the reason that I originally put LED strips in here, because I didn't want to replace these. But now that I'm going with these LED bulbs, they need these sockets because they're going to fit in the sockets, and I purchased some replacement sockets and we're going to get them in there now. So I got these new high output sockets from Royal vendors. Part number on that 842002. They're not that much, and what you do is you just simply pry out the old one out of this metal frame, which you're going to reuse, and put the new one in, like so, to match this other one here. Push down on it. They have springs, and it fits in there that easily. Then the wires connect into the other side. Now this is the socket that was on the other side. It's not as burned up as this one, but I'm going to replace it anyhow. Now this one had wires in it. To get the wires out, if you have the wires in there, you just put a screwdriver, flat screwdriver, into the release switch, and then you pull them straight out. Push this one out and put my new socket in here. And now I'm going to daisy chain these two sockets together with this wire. I am going to need to restrip this end because those wires broke off when the other socket burnt up. You put one wire on one side, push it in till it locks, and then one wire on the other side, push it in till it locks. That's good. Get this end. Now this end, I am going to put both wires together here, and these other holes are going to go to the wire that goes up to where the ballast used to be. So I'm going to put these wires in. That looks good. And let me go get my other wire. I stripped the wire that's going to go up to my junction. There, that's good. So I got my bottom sockets all wired up with the wire that goes up to where the ballast used to be. Let's put them in. All right, so we're going to put the one socket in here, pull it over. Keep in mind, the power is still turned off. Never work on one of these machines with the power on. I've learned the hard way. I'm gonna stick that metal piece in, and here's the screw. I had it there for safekeeping so that I would not lose it. I'll loosen this, get it off, then pull the socket down, put the screw back in, tighten it up. All right, one socket in place. Let's get the other one in. Same thing, take the screw out. Work my wires around. Peeking through there, putting up a little bit of a fight. There it goes, coming down into place. Make sure you don't pinch the wires that are back there. Get my screw in, tighten that up. All right, now we feed this wire up to right around where the ballast was, and we're going to make the bottoms the hots. So I'll be connecting that to the black wire, and I'm going to make the top the neutral and connecting that to these 4 wires. But I've got to strip all these. These wires are 22 gauge, so that's what you want to set your stripping unit to. strip them all the same amount, or as close to the same amount as you possibly can. This little black thing here is what they call a ferrite. It's a magnet. It would stop electrical interference from causing the lights to flicker. It was part of the old magnetic ballast system. I'm going to leave it there. I mean, it's not going to really hurt anything, even though we're not using a ballast anymore. But that's what that is. I'm going to get my neutral, line it up with all these other wires, and then grab their ends. Try to make them all equal here, or as close to equal as you can with their height. And I'm going to grab the top of them and start twisting them together so that I can get my wire nut on there. And it bites properly. Wire nut. Get that on. Make it nice and tight. And for extra precaution, when I'm done, I will put electrical tape around this so that this doesn't get loose or fall off. Now let's do the hot lead, which is the black lead. So I hooked up the hot lead down there. The wire was a little tight, so I really had to get in here behind. Now I'm going to put the electrical tape around the wire nuts just as added protection so that they don't slip off and cause a short, which could lead to another burnt up connector. The final step is to hook up the power. This machine has a relay that turns on and off the light at different times, so that's why we have this Y adapter. It bypasses the power and sends it to the relay. Now it's time to put the bulbs in. Remember, one end of the bulb is going to be marked hot, or in this case it has an L for live, and then the other side is marked N for neutral. On this machine, I wired the top sockets with neutral. The bottom have the hot, so I'm going to put the L on the bottom, and you want to position it. This is lights on two sides. You want to make sure one of these sides with the lights is facing toward the front display and not like this. And if it is like this, remember the sockets can spin, and you would spin the sockets until they line up with the lights facing forward. So let's get this in here. Hopefully you have a high ceiling like this. Bulb goes up, it goes down to the bottom. You clear that. The top socket is spring loaded, so you go into that first, push it up, then line up on the bottom, and then push it down. And that's how you want it, so that I have lights aiming toward the back, which I didn't really need. I could have bought one directional lamps for this because I don't have a double-sided sign, of course, it's just going to the front. But the ones I had available were the 360 LED lamps, so I have them on both sides. It will reflect off this silver door and bounce that way anyhow. Let's get the other bulb in. All right, both bulbs are in, positioned properly. Let's power up the machine and see if it works. And there you go. The LEDs are providing plenty of power, plenty of brightness at a fraction of the wattage of the fluorescent lights. Let's take a look at them in the inside. There you go. Have a 5-year warranty, so hopefully they won't need to be changed for a while. That's all for today. Happy vending.